Hello everybody, welcome back to 8-Bit Writers. Today I am going to be talking about the midpoint in your novel. The midpoint is a very important plot beat, usually at around the 50% mark. We're just going to get right into it. What exactly is a midpoint? I'm going to start by talking about something called peripeteia. I'm a little new to this concept myself, so if you have any illuminating information that I don't provide, please feel free to comment it below. So in many story structures, this is often called the point of no return, or the unexpected reversal. Now, this means basically two things. One, that this is where the protagonist's fate is sealed, so to speak. Basically, whatever happens in the climax now becomes inevitable. Hi, baby. Okay, you can sit with me. Now becomes inevitable. It also flips the energy of the story, or a reversal of fortune. For example, if your heroes at the beginning of the story are super strong, badass superheroes, at this point they're probably very vulnerable and broken down and in danger. Or if your story starts out with your protagonist as kind of the underdog, this is a good time for there to be a big show of their power. Now, this is important because it ensures a dynamic story. It's very important to keep your story dynamic and moving. A stagnant story is a boring story, and a boring story is a story that goes unread. Another important part of the midpoint is that it gives new information or recontextualizes something. So let's talk about some examples. Number one, let's say you have a romance novel where at the midpoint a secret is revealed that makes one party question whether they actually want to be with the other or not. This is really good because it recontextualizes their relationship, adds new information, and deepens the plot. I mean, just sit there and imagine for a second what it would be like if you were writing a story and that were to happen. How would your characters react? How would they get through it? Are they going to get through it? Example number two, the fantasy party has just been through hell trying to get to the kingdom for safe harbor, and when they reach it, one of the party members lets the antagonistic force into the kingdom. This is another great one because it shows a more overt plot twist, which is not necessary, but it is fun. And it completely changes how you view one of the characters, and might even make you question things like, why did they let them in? What brought them to this path? Have they been planning on doing this the whole time? I think a good midpoint is going to make you think, and so that's something to keep in mind when crafting that part of your novel. Salem, get down. So, what makes a good midpoint? I believe a good midpoint consists of these things. Number one, a change in the plot's direction. The midpoint is the largest turning point in your story. If there's no turning point, it's not the midpoint, it's just another plot beat. Number two, a good midpoint has some compelling element that deepens or twists the story's meaning, character's relationship, something important. This event should be relevant and set up well throughout the novel. Number three is relevance. Random is rarely fun in literature. Things need to have meaning, or else readers are going to question why they're reading in the first place. Meaning comes from relevance, from knowing an element is supposed to be there, and that the story would not be the same without it. So here's one that my friend Dib told me about that he thought I should include, and I agree. Obviously, I'm including it. This is more of an optional one, but using any recurring or maybe even new imagery could be very impactful here. For example, say your story has a lot of crow imagery, and maybe they represent comfort and familiarity to the main character. Well, maybe on the day of the big battle, the sky is completely empty. You could also use new imagery. This one, you want to be sure that you're doing things intentionally. Which, I mean, you should always be doing that, honestly. But what I mean is, it's easier to, in my opinion, find ways to tie in imagery that you already have going on in a novel. So when you decide you want to use something new to kind of add that punch, hi Salem. You want to be very careful with what you pick and the meaning that it has in the context of your story. Crows in contemporary, the general contemporary, aren't gonna have the same vibes as a gothic horror novel. The idea behind using imagery that has not been used before is to change the routine in a way that is meaningful and impactful. What makes a bad midpoint? In my opinion, a bad midpoint is a midpoint that has no points. It doesn't change the direction of the story. It doesn't deepen or alter any plot, characters, or relationships. It's just another part of the story. In my opinion, if you were to get a group of experienced writers together and read your book and they cannot tell that the midpoint is the midpoint, it's probably not a good midpoint. So, real quick, there's going to be some very minor spoilers for the midpoint of Season 1 of The Good Place. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to click off, and if you are doing that, I will see you next time, and thank you for watching. That being said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, The Good Place, Season 1, actually has a fantastic midpoint. So basically what's going on, if you're new, Eleanor Shellstrop is a girl who has just died, and she wakes up in the good place. And she very quickly realizes that she's actually not really supposed to be there at all. There was a mix-up, and she's just not supposed to be there. She is supposed to be dead, just not in the good place. And so she spends this whole half a season trying to duck being caught out and learning ethics from Chidi, another character, and trying to learn how to be a better person so she might be able to find a way to stay in the good place. Well, all this chaos later, she ends up revealing herself intentionally. And this is a fantastic midpoint because it definitely changes the direction of the story. We were originally trying to hide from being caught out, and now we're trying to convince them to let us stay. It also is relevant to more than just Eleanor. It's relevant to pretty much every character in the cast. It's also relevant to the plot and the message, and that's great. And if nothing else, it was very compelling. I definitely think that that's true. So if you want to see a good midpoint, watch The Good Place. It's not an endorsement. I mean, it is an endorsement. I love that show. But anyway, so that's pretty much what we've got. Salem, please let me outro. That's pretty much what we've got. All about midpoints. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please let me know. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.